On the evening of November 9, 1989, a mid-level border guard in East Berlin made a decision entirely on his own, with no direct order to back him up, and it ended up bringing down the Berlin Wall, hours ahead of schedule. His name was Harald Jaeger, and he was working the checkpoint at Bornholmerstrasse, one of several crossing points between East and West Berlin. Earlier that day, an East German government spokesman had fumbled a live television announcement about new, slightly relaxed travel regulations. Asked when the new rules would take effect, the flustered official said, "Immediately, without delay." He hadn't meant citizens could simply walk through the wall that night. The actual policy wasn't ready for weeks. East Berliners watching the broadcast heard something very different. To them, it sounded like the wall was already open. Within hours, thousands of people began gathering at checkpoints across the city, Jäger's crossing among them, demanding to be let through immediately. Jäger had received no such order. He repeatedly called his superiors for instructions and was repeatedly told to hold the line and turn people away. Nobody above him was willing to make a real decision. But the crowd outside his checkpoint kept growing. Thousands of people, pressed together, increasingly agitated, with nowhere near enough guards to control them by force without serious risk of violence or a crush. Jäger later described the moment plainly. He was staring at an impossible choice. Follow orders that no longer matched reality on the ground, or make a call himself that could end his career, or worse. Just after 11:30 p.m., with no updated orders and a crowd he could no longer safely hold back, Jäger made the decision himself. He told his guards to simply open the gate and let people through without checking their documents the way protocol required. No general made that call. No head of state signed off on it. One tired border guard, staring at a crowd he genuinely believed he could no longer control, decided the risk of holding the line had become worse than the risk of opening it. Word spread within minutes. Other checkpoints, hearing that Bornholmerstrasse had opened, began opening their own gates too, guard by guard, each one making a similar individual decision under similar pressure. By the early hours of the morning, people were openly celebrating on top of the wall itself, a barrier that had divided the city for 28 years. Now here's the version of the night that could easily have gone differently. What if Jäger had held the line exactly as ordered? What if his superiors had eventually sent riot police instead, insisting the crowd disperse by force before any announcement clarified the confusion? Historians studying that night point out just how fragile the actual outcome really was. A different guard, a different checkpoint, a slightly more forceful response from any single commander, and the opening of the wall could have turned violent, delayed, or handled through an entirely different, more controlled, more dangerous process altogether. The peaceful collapse of the Berlin Wall, an event that reshaped the map of Europe and helped end the Cold War, wasn't the result of a grand negotiated plan executed on schedule. It was the result of one exhausted guard, unable to reach a superior willing to actually decide anything, choosing to trust his own judgment over an order that no longer made sense. Jäger himself later said he never felt like a hero. He said he simply ran out of other options. Sometimes, the moments that reshape entire continents aren't decided in war rooms or signed into treaties. Sometimes they come down to one person, alone at a gate, deciding they've run out of ways to say no.